Hello and welcome. Very welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Anu Khanna, and today I'm joined by the dashing entrepreneur, Darren Evans from AfterCloud. Darren, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
I'm certainly happy to, Anu. Yeah, thank you very, very much. It's lovely to be here with such a glamorous host.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Darren Evans. I'm chief exec of AfterCloud. Our journey began really, it's 5 years ago now. It's just incredible how time flies. But back then, I was providing some consultancy to a very large private equity-backed acquisitional growth company in the software space. And basically, my wife and my sister-in-law were primary carers for my mother-in-law, who had a very aggressive form of Lewy body dementia. Anyway, long story short, she sort of 10 months rapid progression of the illness, but she died, and horrendous time for the family, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But post the funeral, we were going through family possessions, as you do, and my son, who was kind of 11 and a half, I guess, at the time, was going through a family photo album and asking my wife, who's that, who's this, who's that? And she had no idea. And to add context, my mother-in-law was from India. So my wife is British Indian, which added that level of complexity to family and legacy. Anyway, it was my son Dylan that said, look, Dad, you work in technology, or words to that effect. Can't you do something that will assist other families? And that was really the light bulb moment that inspired AfterCloud and our development. Here we are sort of 5 years later, and we work across three verticals predominantly.
Wow, listening to this story is like giving me goosebumps. It's amazing. And also, it's so personal, it's so emotional. It's your mother-in-law, and then it's your son asking such strong, thought-provoking, emotional questions, and that led to the business that you have started. What a story.
It's interesting because the business name is Dylogic. My son is Dylan.
Right.
And it was his logic that led to our development. So we just said Dylogic.
Wow.
Yeah. AfterCloud is our brand, and that's literally how we sort of promote ourselves, really.
Yes. There are a lot of business owners who will be listening to this podcast. And people have similar circumstances happening to them, or there is a passion, or there is an, inner desire, but not everyone has that, the leap of faith, you may call it, or the strength or the courage to actually just go for it. So how did you just make it happen? How did you just go for it?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that for those people that are passionate about what they do, but I think also affected in some way by grief, it inspires or instills that purpose-driven approach. And that was our scenario. We were grief-stricken to the point that, we wanted to help or do something, but also at the same time create that social impact. I was in a fortunate position where I'd worked for other people through my professional career, made lots of money for other people and businesses, but equally, I was okay. I did okay. And we just decided, now is the time, if ever, to do something about it. And with Dylan's inspiration, we just found it the right time. So there was no plan B, Anu. We started actually at the end of life by creating what was a memory box. And we've iterated, or pivoted is the phrase I think that people use nowadays, really for the last 4 years. I bootstrapped the business right up until last November. And it's been tough, but we've been very fortunate and very blessed to have some really good support and a support structure around us at the same time. So I've only really been, paying myself a wage for kind of, less than a year. But I think for anyone that's out there, for any founders or anyone that's got the basis of an idea, run with it.
Mm.
Don't hold back, go for it. You'll then have no regrets. If it doesn't work, go back to the
Yeah.
drawing board and start again, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, really well said. For me, it summarizes in that one line that you said, there was no plan B, because that's, the folly, or that's sometimes a comfort factor that entrepreneurs or business owners have a fall back upon. And when that fallback option, plan B, becomes the plan A. But when you're going for plan A, really giving your everything wholeheartedly and living your purpose. So really well done, Darren. That's such an inspiration.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you so much. I think for us, social impact is at the core of what we do. And we really don't want to lose sight of where we started. We now, as I said earlier, we have these 3 verticals, which are really nothing whatsoever to do with where we started. But not losing sight of where we started is where our social impact lies, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. No, incredible. Really, really strong. Yeah. So, before we were catching up just before this podcast, and you were telling me how you have diversified within that purpose and how you've set 3 verticals. Would you like to share what your 3 verticals are about?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I mean, it's fascinating, really, because as I say, some of this was unplanned, and you sort of follow maybe intuition or follow your nose or experience, I guess, at my age. So we as I said, we started at end of life, and then in our early pilots, it was during lockdown, and a lot of those real world scenarios assisted us with user feedback. So we created what was a timeline based on real life stories, utilizing multimedia data sets, which is our IP, if you like. Then what happened really was people started to apply it retrospectively. So we now have, in fact, I posted about it earlier, interestingly. There's a couple of sites in America that have after-cloud QRs on gravestones that celebrate the lives of people that have already passed. Wow. So that led us into our second vertical, which is heritage, in that we can now offer it to organizations for corporate heritage, brand heritage. We can offer it to visitor attractions for tourism heritage. We're on it's known as the Statue to Imagination for Dame Agatha Christie. So visitors can go and have a look at her statue and read all about her backstory. And then we have interactive links in our timelines as well, which connect to other things or point people towards other things. So we can do that. And then the third vertical, which is a really interesting space, is, and we've tried to keep it in stealth a little bit, but once it's out there, it sort of has legs of its own, if you will, and that is consumer. And the latest innovation, I guess, in that space is with regard to classic cars, where vehicle owners want to tell the history and heritage or pedigree of their cherished vehicle.
Wow.
It's mind-blowing, actually. I mean, any inanimate object can potentially have a timeline.
Wow. Yes, so you're hitting so many boxes with the different verticals. You have the CSR angle, you're living your purpose. You're also catering to other people's passions with the cars. Looking at the social aspect of it. That's really delightful to see how you're covering the entire range.
As I say, it wasn't planned. I would love to say, it's all part of our strategy, but our passion is social impact, and that my background in social care is where my passion lies. That said, we never sort of negate on any opportunity. And the classic car space, I'm really privileged and proud to say that the one of the world's most expensive cars, the AX201, the Silver Ghost, is now on our platform. And that's a national treasure.
Yes, and I looked at your website and it's absolutely incredible. So for our viewers who are watching, where can they see that? Or what's the portal?
They can go to aftercloud.co.uk. And within that, they can go to classics. And I think we've got it listed as a case study. Aston Martin, their A3 will soon be there. and a number of others. I mean, our passion is now enabling people to create their own stories for whatever they would like. It's just fascinating.
Fantastic. So if I'm a B2B business owner and I'm listening to this podcast and then I'm very inspired by what you're doing, so how can I contribute? How can I get involved?
I think for a B2B business right now, one thing that you can do is tell your history. What is the legacy of your business? What is the legacy of your heritage? And I think from there, you can inspire others by implementing other timelines to say partners, people that have inspired your growth and your journey, and maybe employees, be seen as an employer of choice by showcasing some employees that are maybe outstanding. I know we've got other corporates that are potentially doing that right now. And I think that would be something. Similarly, we have a B2B2C offering. So if there are any businesses out there that potentially would like to utilize our platform, which is both desktop and mobile, then they can reach out to me directly and we can talk about some form of partnership.
Oh, fantastic. That's really good, Darren. So as a B2B business owner, I really like what you said. I could have my own story, and that's amazing. As a business owner, I want my business story to be mapped out and to be out there. How do I go about it?
Right now, you can go onto the website. You would look at heritage and then contact one of my account managers or me directly. One other thing, very, very briefly, is we've just started to showcase founders' stories. So these are new, all seed-based growth companies that want to tell their story on our platform, and we'll be announcing those very, very shortly. Some wonderful, wonderful showcases to show off.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. So I can go to your AfterCloud website, and under there is heritage.
Yeah.
And there I can click on adding my business story.
What you would do is follow the link through that, which leads to heritage, and then make an inquiry. At the moment, it's a direct relationship, so B2B relationship in that regard. For consumers, they can purchase the app online or via the App Store, and we have 3 tiers in that regard as well. So
fantastic.
Yeah, we cater for all, hopefully.
No, very good, Darren. So for our listeners who are inspired by you and who are also, have their own passion, but never took that courage, never had that leap of faith, what will be in your parting note? What would you like to say to these business owners?
I would say don't hold back. If you've got a gut feeling that you want to do something, and something, certainly if it's got social impact at its core or change or innovation in some way or respect, go for it. And if I can help anyone out there, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to assist in any way I can. I've been very, very, very well supported thus far, and I'm happy to share and impart my knowledge as well.
Fantastic. Darren, thank you so much for your time today. It was great meeting you and learning about your entrepreneurial journey, learning about how you're living your purpose, so intentional and so meaningful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anu. I'm so grateful for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Darren.